Hello, everybody. Stephen Mead here for Domicile Real Estate, where we are on a mission to help California's renters become homeowners. This is our Southern California first-time buyer market update for, and I can't believe this, October 1st, 2021. A couple things before we start. One of the things that I like to do is sort of share maybe some of the things that I'm thinking about that I'm thinking about for first-time home buyers, and even some of the things that I'm running into. So, one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot for first-time home buyers, and I just put this in an email to someone, is, markets change, inventory changes, the issues sometimes change, but something that is kind of a common thread for as long as I can remember, it was a thread for me when I was a first-time home buyer 15 years ago, is kind of this notion of fear. I think this is a very scary process for a lot of people. And that sort of leads me to kind of the first experience that I had. So we recently launched a listing that I would consider fairly first-time home buyer friendly. It was under $1 million, located in Tustin. One of you actually came out and said hello at our open house. That was super nice to kind of meet a fan. And I'm guessing we probably had a few others, but they were a little shy. That was kind of a fun experience. I talked to one couple in particular, and I want to share something about them because I think this is an important lesson for anybody who's a first-time home buyer. So this is a couple where they are both highly educated, very smart people, and they said to me that they just feel overwhelmed and they are so afraid to talk to an agent, to talk to a lender, to talk to just about anybody. And I think it's because they're afraid that they're going to get bad news. Now, the irony of this, right, is that we did end up talking to these people. They did end up getting pre-qualified. It only took a couple of hours of their time. Actually, it was done in a day. And they actually qualified for a lot more than they thought they did. So, they had kind of an exact opposite experience to their fear. And something I want to throw out there is, even if someone comes to me, and I understand a lot of agents are very busy right now. I am very busy right now. We are very busy here right now. But if someone comes to me and says, I don't even think I'm going to buy a house for 5 years, it's just a goal that I have, I will give anybody who says that 15 minutes of my time to talk with them about home buying and about preparing that, because I think that's so important. So I want to say to anyone, if you're afraid to reach out because you don't think you're going to buy soon enough, or you don't think that you have all of your ducks in a row, by the way, nobody does, we will spend 15 minutes with anybody chatting about home buying, because I think it's very important. The second experience I want to talk about really quick, and then I promise we will jump into the stats. The second experience is, I've run into this. This is a situation where some buyers, not my buyers, not buyers I'm working with, but some buyers are in escrow on a home. Their agent has never seen the house. They have never met their agent in person. And at the home inspection, their agent didn't come to that either. And these people felt so alone in this process. And I want to tell you, you are totally doing it wrong. You should not feel alone. You should feel like you have a partner, somebody who is there looking out for you, thinking of all the things that maybe you don't even know that you need to think about yet. I think that's really what a good agent and realtor will do for you. That's what we do for our clients. And even if it's not us, really, you deserve someone who's going to do that for you. I don't care what price range you are in. Even if you're buying mobile homes for $100,000, you deserve an agent who will do those things for you. So with that said, rant off, just some things we're seeing out in the market right now. Agents are busy, but don't settle for crappy service, and don't be afraid. So we're going to jump into the stats because we have a lot to talk about. All right. So again, we're going to start off and we're going to talk about closed prices. And remember, this is looking in the rearview mirror, 4 to 6 weeks. And again, we see kind of a really interesting market dynamic. Let me get a little pointer here. Condos finally moved up like we thought they should be moving up. And single family homes took a nosedive, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to tell you, this is one of those weeks where I think this graph, which again is based on where prices were 4 to 6 weeks ago, I think this graph is completely irrelevant to the market that we are in this exact week. And I'm going to tell you why that is in a second. So if you look here on our total monthly payment, boy, we see this number shoot up for condos. Now, did the prices actually shoot up this much week to week? No, they didn't. You'll notice that this graph is not a smooth line. There are a lot of what we call data artifacts. You understand that things are not smooth. They don't move around exactly. This just shows you again, if you're new to watching us, we try to come up with a realistic payment for first-time home buyers, and a realistic payment is based on 5% down. It includes mortgage insurance, taxes, the HOA fee in the case of our condo, and this is based on our entry-level home scenario, which is a 25th percentile 3-bed 2-bath home, and our entry-level condo, which is a 25th percentile 2-bedroom 2-bath. And just as a reminder, if you were not a stats geek like me, 25th percentile basically means if you took the median, which is the halfway point between the cheapest and the most expensive house, and then you look for the median between the cheapest and the fifth and the middle, you would get to that 25th percentile. So we try to do that to kind of approximate an entry level of the market. You see we are just under $4,000 here on our single family home and just over $3,200. To kind of put that in a little bit of perspective of household incomes, if you have no other debts at all, you need to be close to basically around $100,000 ish for a single family homes, and around $70,000 to $80,000 ish for our entry level condo scenario. So pretty simple. That's kind of the prices. If you look at these graphs over time, huge increases in the spring, and then kind of more gentle increases as we've kind of gone through the middle of the summer to the fall, for the most part, if you were to kind of draw a trend line through these. Now you're going to see something. I'm going to give you two pieces of information here. In fact, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you information number one. I'm going to give it to you separately. In the past week, mortgage rates have moved up about 1/8 of a percentage point. And what that means is the national Freddie Mac mortgage average went from 2.875% or 2 7/8 to right about 3%. So it moved 1/8 of a percentage point a week. That's a pretty quick movement in 1 week. That may not be indicative of what's going to happen next week. So understand that. And a big reason for this is news that the Fed basically said they are not going to be on a bond buying spree. For those of you who are not bond market economists, basically, when the federal government buys a bunch of bonds, it keeps the prices of the bonds high, and the yields or the interest rates low. The Fed said they're going to stop doing that, which will have an effect of lowering bond prices and raising interest rates. I think we kind of all knew this was coming at some point. We just didn't know exactly when it was coming and how fast it would come. 1/8 in 1 week is a lot, but that feels a little bit like a market reaction to me. So I don't necessarily think next week will be another 1/8. It could be. So that's information number one. Interest rates this week shot up 1/8 of a percentage point, right? Now I'm going to show you what's going to look like the opposite of what you would expect. And I'm going to tell you why you are wrong to expect that. This is our 14-day absorption rate. So this compares the homes that came on the market to the homes that got snapped up into escrow. How many, right? Look what happened to this absorption rate. 94% for our single family category. Geez, that's a hot market. 87% for condos. Boy, another hot market. I think, remember, as a reminder, anything over 90% is a crazy circus level market. Anything between 80 and 90 is just a super, super strong seller's market. So now I know what you're thinking. Why did the market suddenly get more competitive when rates went up? Shouldn't that make the market get less competitive? Well, yes, that's true in theory, but this is what's really happening. Is you have to understand the psychology of home buyers, especially first-time home buyers like you. There is a sense of losing something. If rates go up, many of you will see your pre-approvals and your purchasing ability go down. This is a mathematical fact. If rates go up, you will qualify for less of a mortgage. So in the face of that happening, the immediate reaction of buyers is not to pull out of the market. It is to jump in because they feel like their opportunity may pass. And that aversion to losing something is a much more powerful motivating force for buyers. And I think that's what we're seeing this week. I think we're seeing buyers say, you know what? It looks like this low interest rate market, it might not last forever. I really need to get my butt in gear and get in the market. I do expect that will continue at least for another week or two, especially depending on how the rates move. If you look at our total inventory, this kind of gives you another clue. Now, it's fall. We're used to seeing this, but I want you to take a look at something that I think is really important to note here. If you look here versus last year, look at where we are in inventory. For our entry-level single-family homes, we're at around 1,600 units available. Look where we were in September, October of last year. We were a good amount higher than that. Now I want you to look at where we are with our condos, because this is just really, I think this says everything you need to know. We have reached a new low point of condo inventory. This is the least number of condos we have had available in the past year, and it is right now. And if you look where we were back here last fall, we were 60, 70% higher in inventory. That's huge, folks. That's a big, big, big number. I think this low inventory environment is going to be sort of that new normal, and I don't expect that really to change in the coming year. Now, 14 days still active. This is kind of another market competitive metric. If you guys are watching, the sun is setting, so my skin is in fact not turning red. It's just the light on the horizon. It's actually a really pretty sunset tonight. This shows that our market has eased off that spring competitive level, but it is still a very, very competitive market. And finally, really our week supply of homes, this puts that inventory in perspective. We are at 5 weeks of inventory on our entry-level condos versus where were we last year? 7.3 weeks of inventory, or 50% more inventory a year ago. Where are we in our single-family homes? That situation is not nearly as dire. We are at about 3.5 weeks of inventory versus 3 3/4 weeks. So in the same general zone. My fear is that we're going to drop down into the 2s by the end of the year. I think that might actually happen. So we're just going to have to kind of watch and see. I'm very curious to see where interest rates go in the next week. I think that will say a lot about what the market looks like for the next month. I want to thank everybody for watching. Sorry, I just almost knocked over a glass. I want to thank everybody for watching. We really love doing these videos. We really love helping people, talking to people, and interacting with people. And like I said, whether you call us, whether you call somebody else, you deserve that level of expertise if you are thinking of buying a home, and that level of knowledge, and not being afraid to ask questions. So don't be afraid. Absolutely ask questions. If you want to get in touch with us, you can definitely do that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'm going to do the stupid YouTuber thing. Smash that like button, smash that thumbs up or notification bell or whatever it is you smash. But we'll see you again next week with our regular full housing market update, which is not just geared towards entry-level home buyers, but all the way across the board. And we will see you next week.